All right, the first step for question 43 is to double underline the specific part of the passage the question brings up. And this question very specifically refers to sentences 15 through 18. Next, we underline the part of the question stating what the writer thinks or wants, and in this question, the writer thinks that sentences 15 through 18 form a vague, long-winded, jargon-filled, hard-to-follow statement. So we have underlined that. Next, we circle what the question is asking, and the question is asking which of the following versions best eliminates the writer's concerns and also supports the basic meaning of the passage. Next, we eliminate any answers that are clearly incorrect, and for this question in particular, the passage is about looking into the future and that the demands don't need to happen now, but they will need to happen like in the next 5 years after. So it was a little confusing, but I went ahead and crossed out question A. It says to meet the demands of the next 5 years. That's not true. It's not we're not trying to meet the demands of the next 5 years. The superintendent wants this list of things to happen so that way in the future, if things changed, then they will already be prepared. So it is not to meet the demands of the next 5 years. Also, C, planning for the next 5 years, not really that either. And D, the meetings of demands during the next 5 years, that is definitely wrong. So we have looking 5 years into the future. Some of the district's buildings will require expansion, elimination, or reconfiguration, and within the next 5 years' time, some district's building must undergo expansion, elimination, or reconfiguration to meet future demands. So that is really why my group chose letter E, because it says to meet future demands. Okay, moving on to question 44. The first thing we have to do is double underline the specific part of the passage the question brings up, and this question brings up the end of sentence 20. So we double underline that. Then we underlined provide a persuasive argument for avoiding a state takeover of the schools because that is what the writer wants. Next, we're going to circle what the question is asking, and the question is asking which of the versions of the underlined text best accomplishes this goal. And the goal is to provide a persuasive argument for avoiding a state takeover of the schools. So we crossed out a condition that would force the district to abandon plans to reduce class size and expand after-school tutorial and enrichment programs, because nowhere in the passage did it talk about reducing class size and expanding after-school and enrichment programs, and that has really nothing to do with the state taking over. Next, we have a step that will encourage the growth and expansion of charter schools. That is something positive, and we are trying to persuade people that if the state takes over, then something very negative will happen. We also are going to cross out D, a policy that nullifies laws saying and guaranteeing every child the right to a free education. We do not know that is true because the passage never talked about that. Our options are C and D. C is an action that is very damaging to democracy in our district, and D, a move that is likely to cause disconnect and conflict in our school community. While D could be true, my group chose C because if the state takes over, that is damaging the democracy in the sense that it's not fair that the state is taking over, and that's not very democratic. So that is why my group chose C. Thank you.